Okay,
now,
good.
Okay,
right.
yeah, we can
All right.
talk now.
Oh,
Officially.
Don't mess up my YouTube stuff, sir.
No kidding.
I don't care if it's your birthday or not. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency talking about good policies. Of course, we always have an opportunity to sit down and discuss things that are on your mind. If you ever have a question, you can call or email kicks1055@gmail.com.
Or Mike at thebarrettagency.com.
There you go. And if it's a topic that we haven't crossed or one that we like to beat dead after the horses died many moons ago, we'll continue to yap about it. But we have covered, I think, everything. And
we're really, at this point, just going to start circling back with maybe a little bit of newness along the way. But
well, I think the only newness is when you have laws that are changing. And we talked about where you can find those new laws. And we talked about the pushback when people were told that you have to have a pad.
If you say oil tank again, I'm just going to slap you.
Notice I didn't.
All right,
I just said you had to have a pad.
Boy, that's been like a theme.
The pads are slapping me. So, and then we've got, so many things going on that we want to make sure that you have the knowledge and information to know that you have the power. You can go and you can have your, what do you call it? Your thing reviewed, your policy.
Your policy. Yeah.
Have it reviewed.
Well, it's all about not getting surprised, and a number of weeks ago, before we got onto the oil tank conversation, which that kind of was an impromptu from a news story that I had found, but that we had talked about the possibility of discussing business insurance and workers' compensation. And really, we try not to delve deep into that. And I'm not talking our office. Our office, actually, we have a lot of businesses that we insure, providing workers' compensation, general liability, and things like that. I mean, we insure everything from fire departments to restaurants to gas stations and beyond, a lot of contractors as well. But for this purpose, with the good policies conversation, we try not to talk a lot about business insurance because it doesn't necessarily, work well for everyone to understand, because it doesn't apply to everybody.
Right.
But what I wanted to do is, I've come across recently many folks who have businesses to some degree that have no insurance, and were actually surprised when I said, you need insurance, and we're not talking these are big businesses. We're talking
mom and pop stores, maybe have 2 or 3 people,
or people who clean office buildings or things like that. If you are exposing yourself, and yes, I said that, there's an exposure there that you're self-insuring. So if you become liable through some level of compensation to you for doing a job for somebody else, my goodness, you absolutely need some level of insurance. I mean,
well, let's say you trip and fall while you're doing a cleanup job. You're the janitor somewhere, but you do it as a subcontractor. You're responsible for taking care of yourself. You couldn't go to them and especially if you're getting paid under the table. Is that a real issue?
That's a real issue. Yeah. And so real quickly, business owner's insurance is just going to be a quick statement. Business owner's insurance, you have the option to protect yourself for loss to your business personal property, which you're not going to have coverage for that on a homeowner policy or anything else. You really need a business personal property coverage from a BOP or a commercial package policy. Let's
BOP?
say, business owner's policy. The acronym is a BOP. So if you're a contractor and you have tools on job sites, don't you want coverage for all those tools that you've accumulated over the years?
I have been on a couple of job sites with a couple of tools that I've worked with, and
you couldn't insure them, right? John and Steve were just tools.
That's
but it's really key to have. And then the bigger thing is if you are held liable for bodily injury or property damage in the course of your duties for work, and you have no insurance, you're self-insuring, and that means that if there is a litigious claim against you, suiting up lawyers, all of that's out of your pocket. So just a scary thought. Now let's talk about the workers' compensation. Workers' compensation is absolutely key. In Vermont, it's required if you have employees. Now, I always get this part wrong because I don't come across it a lot, but I do believe the one exception to the workers' compensation rule could be agricultural. So I believe your aggregate payroll has to be greater than $10,000 in the calendar year to be required to carry workers' comp. I believe that's what it is. I didn't have a chance to really get more details, so please don't quote me on that. But that's the one exception to the rule. So essentially, if somebody's working for you, you are responsible for them. You are responsible for their injury.
If you're working on a farm and you have seasonal migrant workers, is insurance more expensive when you go to having people who are not legal?
No, it has no bearing on
Immigration
status whatsoever. Workers' compensation is based on two things. one, the type of work. two, the amount of pay. That's it. Because the amount of pay is indicative of the exposure. So if you're paying $25,000 a year for somebody to work with you in the capacity of a carpenter, it is what it is. If you're paying $50,000 a year for somebody to be a server at a restaurant, that's really where the pricing comes in, and it's based on the size and the amount of exposure for that particular person. And I'll tell you right now, I have to carry workers' compensation for everybody who works for me.
Right.
Now I have...
Which might be weird because you have your mother-in-law and your wife... and so you've got personal, and then you've got business.
And we're an LLC, so by state law, or by state statute, we're allowed to exempt ourselves as the owners. So my wife, Jen, and I, so that we don't have to pay, because I think no matter what, our minimum amount of pay is based on about $40,000 or $50,000 in salary, regardless of what we pay ourselves.
And you make way more than
more than that, yeah. And we're talking millions, Sean. But so a lot of people who are business owners, sole proprietors, can exclude themselves. Partners can exclude themselves. You sign a form, send it to the state, get it back, provide it to the company. So there's ways to protect just your employees. That is available. But it's very key to have coverage because never forget this. He could be your best friend as he climbs up the ladder, but who is he when he falls and breaks his back?
Yep, no kidding.
And now cannot work, and now has all kinds of medical bills and things. Workers' comp is your front line protection for that.
Thank you so much, Mike Barrett. Our time is up. Barrett Insurance Agency, good policies. We'll catch you next Wednesday. If you want to hear more about this or have a chat with him, you can go call or online.
748-5224. Visit us online, thebarrettagency.com. We're on Google, YouTube, and Facebook as Barrett Insurance Agency. Happy birthday.